Chickens channel. I hope you're all doing really well. It's been almost a month, if not over a month, I think, since I sat down and chatted with you, and so much has happened. I don't know where to start to put everything together for you guys, so I think what I'm going to do is kind of do administrative stuff, talk about what's been going on that you've been following, and then get into some of the knitting and the travel that I've done. First, I hope you're all staying healthy and doing well. It is a crazy time in the world right now, and I don't ever remember having anything like this in my lifetime. So I hope everybody's staying well. I hope you're not feeling too overwhelmed. I hope you're not feeling too anxious. I hope that you have community and family to support you. And so I have probably already shown, or I'm going to show you, a little something that I always make in the wintertime. It's kind of a standard immune support in my family that I've been making for years. I know a lot of you probably have already heard of elderberry syrup. Elderberries are a really lovely antiviral because they stop viruses from replicating. So, or the plant, the berries do. If you take elderberry syrup or, good doses of elderberry at the beginning of symptoms, it will stop the replication of the virus in your cells, which then cuts down on the length of you having a virus. So it's used a lot for influenza. And in the past, some people have said, well, I've had the flu and I tried it and it didn't work. But it won't work if you've had it for 5 or 6 days and then you start taking it because the virus is already really set in. So every winter, or when I'm getting close to running out, I'll make a little viral support, a little immune support with elderberries and elderflowers and hibiscus and rosehips and kind of whatever I have on hand, whatever I've gathered from the garden that year, but definitely elderberries. When you see the little video, you'll see all the little goodies that I've added, and it makes a tasty tincture that we take to help keep our immune system up. So what are some of the kinds of things that you do in your family for supporting your immunity, either when it's flu season or right now, the things that you're adding to your daily life? Comment below if you want, because it might be things that can help other people, whether it's your favorite hand spritzer recipe that you bring with you when you're out and about, or I know some people make their own wipes, maybe baby wipes, but you might put something in it, an essential oil or something that helps boost your immune system. Let us know below, and then we can share some of those things. What else has been going on? So much. You know how I know most young mothers especially will feel like this, where someone will say, hey, what have you been doing today? And you're like, because you can't even form the words of all the things that you have done, even though you feel like you've done nothing. I feel like so much has gone on. So, let's see. The first things I wanted to talk to you about are, many of you were involved in the Sister Survivor blanket, which was going to just be one blanket that was given to a survivor of abuse from the Larry Nassar case. Many of you donated beautiful little squares that were all put together into what ended up being 2 blankets that could be donated to 2 of the women who came forward to speak up about the case. And I just wanted to show you pictures of the finished blankets because they are gorgeous. Evelyn did such a beautiful job putting them together. So I'm going to put those here so you can see what you all have contributed to. And I know that they will be well loved and were very well received. Another thing I wanted to thank you all for is the donations that you gave. I sent a portion of my pattern sales to a group called 1300 Koalas, which is a wildlife rescue in Australia that was working with wildlife who'd been injured from all the wildfires. Gosh, this is starting off being a very sad episode. I guess it's talking about big sad things, but ways that you all have impacted these big sad things. And I thank you for it. We ended up giving over 150 Australian dollars to the rescue so that they can put that money towards helping the animals. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. Another thing that many of you contributed to was the Spend Her Free fundraiser that was raising money. They raised almost $10,000 to send to a small village in Cambodia to help with human trafficking, and a group that is there, a nonprofit that's there helping with in a village that seems to have a lot of trouble with this. They raised almost $10,000. Thank you all for contributing to that. One of the encouragements for people to contribute, other than just kindness, was Spinolution had started a collaboration with this group so that they would give away a spinning wheel, a Monarch spinning wheel. And I won the spinning wheel. I was floored when I saw that on there, that I had won the spinning wheel. So I never thought I'd need another spinning wheel. I have one. I've always been a one spinning wheel person. I absolutely love my little matchless. It's a shocked matchless. I can spin everything from lace weight to super bulky art yarn. But it's an older wheel. It has its little creaks and issues, and I didn't realize how much it had those until I sat down on this Monarch spinning wheel and started spinning. It is so smooth and so quiet and so easy to use, and I absolutely love it. I've only spun a little bit of something, and I didn't bring it out here with me today, but I'll show you soon some of the things that I've been working on. I did, as of, was it just Sunday? Just Sunday, this past Sunday, so less than a week ago, I released my new pattern called the Cozy Sunday Socks. These are socks that were inspired by the yarn when I saw them at the Green Mountain Spinnery. It's the Ragg-Time yarn, which is a marled yarn that also shifts in color. And I saw it, I guess it was a year and a half ago when I was at the Green Mountain Spinnery, and I knew immediately these have to be cozy, scrunchy socks that you put on when you're hanging out on Sunday, sitting by the fire, reading a book, enjoying your cocoa, relaxing in a hammock, whatever. They just needed to be cozy socks for your feet. So I finally got around to it, and I absolutely love them. They're super cute. The pattern goes from probably about 5 or 6 years old all the way to a large adult foot. And basically what you do is you measure the width at the widest part of your foot, and you measure the length of your foot. So you can customize it to the foot that you're knitting for, which is really nice because they fit perfectly then. It's a toe-up sock with a gusset and a heel, a short row heel turn, but then you don't have to pick up any stitches because you don't have a flap. So you just do decreases as you go up, which I really like, because when you do top down socks or cuff down, there's often picking up a bunch of stitches around the edges, and I don't like the way it pulls away from the sock. I never can get it to feel like it's nice and tight where you've picked up your stitches. So I've always liked toe-up socks because I can then slide them on once I get the heel done, make sure they fit really well, and I like the look of the heel. So it has that kind of heel, and then it has a little pop of color work up at the top before you get to the cuff, and they're really cute. Well, I can show them to you. So I knit 3 different sizes. I knit a size 1, a size 3, and a size 5, and they go from 1 to 6. These are the size 3. These are mine. They're clean. I washed them, but they're well worn because I wore them a lot when I was in Norway. And I love it. So you can see this is all from the same skein of yarn. I'll bring them closer, but you can see the change in colors. And then you can see the marled yarn. So there's a gray mixed in with the color. The heel is a type of slip stitch heel that gives it a little extra texture and cushion. And it's your standard toe with Jenny's Magic cast on. Yep, so I love them. I used 3 different skeins of yarn for each of the sizes because I wanted to show the different colors. This was the one that I used. You can see there's still some yellow and green in there. This one was called Jelly Roll, and it went from blues and purples to marled with a reddish. And I did this for the size 1. You can see all the pictures on my Instagram feed. which is Ninja Chickens, and also on Ravelry. They're up on Ravelry for sale. And then the size 5 I did in a really beautiful red and purple that was marled with a dark gray. And this one was called Thelonious. And here's another example of the holiday colorway that I used. This one has a little more yellow and green and less of the blues and purples. But I think this one had 6 or 8 colors, and a lot of the other ones had 4 shifting colors. But they're all on their website on Green Mountain Spinnery, and you can see all the details in the yarns. And then the white that I used was another one of theirs that's a DK weight that's called New Mexico Organic. And I think they're out of that right now, but they have a couple that they suggest are good substitutes. So I want to talk for a second about sock yarn, because when I knit my socks, I will often get comments from other knitters about, holes in the yarn. And I have to say, my personal belief is that sock yarn is any yarn that you want to make a sock from. Any yarn. I don't believe that socks have to have nylon or need to be superwash or need to have a plastic in them. It certainly doesn't hurt if they have a strengthener like mohair or silk or tencel, which is plant-based. You can certainly add that to it to get a yarn that might wear a little bit longer. But the fact of the matter is, our ancestors were darning their socks for hundreds and hundreds of years. And if we take care of our socks, it's, maybe we darn them every 2 years instead of every 3. Because socks with nylon and socks with superwash socks, those with plastics are still going to wear. Maybe the plastic doesn't wear as much, but the wool and the animal and plant fiber will wear, and you'll still have to darn them. And I know I have a number of socks that I knit years ago with superwash yarn that have felted in the wash because the superwash coating wore off. So I say, if you see a yarn that you think is beautiful and you want to make socks with it, make socks with it. There's absolutely no reason why you have to get a yarn that is called a sock yarn. Anything is a sock yarn that you want to make a sock yarn. And just care for it. I wore the heck out of these things in Norway, and all I see is just the slightest pilling on the heel, and that's not much at all. So if you're wanting to get yarns that don't have plastic, some of the things you can look for is I wouldn't go for a flat out merino, because that will wear fairly quickly. Any yarn that has a short staple length or a very fine micron count is going to be a thinner fiber and a shorter fiber and won't wear as well. So you want to look for a lot of your heritage breeds, the Romney and Lincoln and those breeds that have long staple length or a slightly larger micron count, so diameter to the fiber, is going to wear better. So your farm yarns are often, like your woolly farm yarns are often really great yarns to go to, and that's what we used to use before we bred for the super fine, super white merino yarns, because they were easier to dye and much softer. The sock yarns were your hardy breed woolly yarns. So even blue face Leicester, which is a somewhat common one that you can find in a fingering weight yarn, is a nice one for socks. So one of the things when I was in Norway, some of you know that I spent almost 2 weeks in Norway the past couple of weeks. And I'll tell you more about that in a little bit, but one of the things I found is one of the places we went, we were being served a really lovely tea and trying some homemade butter that was absolutely delicious. And at the table, he had a place setting that was his grandmother's and great-grandmother's, I believe, and this one cup. My friend Charlotte, who I met for the first time while we were there, she stone knits and makes beautiful sock designs. She showed me a little cup that had almost the exact same pattern on this. on it as my sock. And so it just spiraled into this idea of creating a Norwegian version of this that had made with Norwegian yarn that has the exact same pattern as the cup. So I've actually just finished the first sock and I'm blocking it, and so that's going to be coming out soon. My friend Patricia, who is in Norway and speaks Norwegian, is going to translate it from English to Norwegian for me so we can have kind of a little Norway memory sock. And she said that most people there like to knit their socks in a DK weight yarn because they like thicker yarns and for warmer feet boot socks. So, yes, those are my Cozy Sunday socks. They are on Ravelry. There's sizes for almost the whole family, other than infants. And I really love them, and I hope you like them too. And the Green Mountain Spinnery yarn was a treat to work with. It didn't just feel good in my hands and knit up well and fill in the spaces really well. Like, this is a nice, thick sock. It was just fun to watch. It was fun to watch it change colors as I went. So the other thing that I knit while I was in Norway, and it was mostly on this, is a pair of socks from Laga, who is Fiber Tales. And I didn't know I had nothing on the needles when I was getting ready to go to Norway. And I knew I needed something because it was a knitting trip. The day before I left, I think it was the day before, I saw a post that she had just released a new pattern for socks, and they were absolutely adorable, and I knew right then I had the yarn for it. I knew exactly that I wanted to knit those. So I actually cast on the way there, and I cast off on the way back, so they were all done while I was traveling, and here they are. They are super cute. They have what's called fleas, the little spots, but it's two colors of fleas, so it really gives it more depth. They've got an eye of partridge heel. They're done cuff down. And let's see, the only thing I did to change it up was I knitted on a slightly smaller needle so I could get gauge. And for my size foot, I was thinking I'd do the medium, but it was a little bit loose around the ankle, and so I decided to decrease down to a small after I turned the heel. And I think that was it. Oh, I didn't do a little braid that was up here. I did the color, but I didn't do the braid. So let me bring them a little closer so you can see them. So here they are. Aren't they cute? Super adorable. Really lovely pattern. It was very easy to follow. The gray yarn is one that I had from a friend that was given to me from Latvia. It is called Tynes yarn. The little dark specks are some leftover that I had from a Biche Bouche yarn. And the lighter purple is actually one that my friend Mars of Hawthorne Berry gave me that she dyed herself. And they're called the Loppe Socks. The other thing that I cast on while I was there is just something that I had an idea for because I really wanted to use some of my hand spun. I have a number of skeins that I just haven't done anything with, and I think they're beautiful, but I don't know what to do with them. And I don't want it to just be a hat or I want it to be highlighted because I took so much time to make it. So I have these two skeins. This is the one that I spun last year out of California red fleece, and then I dyed it with the kusagi berries, and it's kind of a teal green. And this is one that I spun and fold, so it's a single spun, and then I kind of lightly felted it so that the spinning would stay together. And I don't have the card for this, but it's super pretty. And I just love the way they look together. I think they complement each other really well. So I decided to start a spiral shawl. Actually, I was inspired by, one morning before I left, by my fan. I have a big fan in my room because I like the noise when I sleep. And I woke up and opened my eyes and I just looked and I saw the fan, and the front face of it has this spiral design on it, and I thought that would be really cool to make into a shawl. So that's what I've started. You can kind of see the spiral in the front, and the color's changing as it goes. And what I'm thinking is that as it gets a little bit bigger, once I have a certain amount of stitches between each slip, I'm going to put in another slip stitch to make the spiral start expanding or have more spiral rays. And we'll just see how big it gets. I mean, I have a massive amount of yarn, so it could get very big. I might also take this idea and make it into a type of hat, a spiral hat. I'm not really into berets, so I'm not sure. Maybe it'll just be kind of a slouchy hat with a spiral. But I think it's super cute. So, last, but certainly not least, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about Norway. I don't think there's any way I can capture what happened over the past couple of weeks and really portray it the way I need to. I took a lot of videos and a lot of pictures, so I'm putting that together as a separate podcast for you guys so that you can see just everything that I experienced. This trip was a special trip that was put together by Patricia Fortune, who's P4Chen on Instagram, and Knitography also. She was born actually not far from where I live now, and married a Norwegian man and has lived in Norway, I think, for 27 years. And she raises Grå Trøndersau, if I said that correctly, which is a rare breed of sheep. She has been working with the Mid-Norway Culture and Knitting Festival. And so I think they've had 3 years of a smaller festival now, and this year is going to be a much larger one. If I'm correct, Patricia had said a 5-day festival with classes and workshops and vendors and a much bigger deal. And she wanted to have a retreat afterwards, potentially 2 to 4 times a year to put on a retreat. So she talked with the festival organizers as well as a local hotel and a number of other farmers in the area, and she said, I can do this and I can prove it to you. It's going to be amazing and people will come. Let me show you. So I'm lucky enough to be Patricia's friend and honored that she asked me to be one of the people that were sponsored to come over to Norway for a kind of a dry run for everything. She put it all together. She had farmers who also raised other types of rare breed sheep. She had a tea party with like 75 people who showed up, local and not so local fiber fans, and amazing dinners with local foods. It was just absolutely fantastic. I can't speak highly enough of the people there who helped out with this. They were all so extremely kind and really made sure that all our needs were met and more. Everybody was just really kind. There were a number of people who ate special foods or couldn't eat certain things. They made sure everybody's needs were taken care of without us having to ask. It was everything was thought of. Patricia, you did an amazing job. So I don't know that it is official yet that she'll be repeating this, but I'm pretty sure she will because it went really, really well and everybody enjoyed themselves. And there was such a great response to it. So keep an eye out on the Mid-Norway Instagram feed. I'll make sure that's here and down below, as well as on Patricia's feed, because they will hopefully be announcing the retreat opening soon. And I think that will end up happening like very end of August, beginning of September, which should be a beautiful time in Norway. So I got a number of things there, as you can imagine, but I can't share everything with you. It would just be too much. So I just want to share some of the things that that either I had never seen before, or I thought you might be interested in, or just yarny things. So one of the first things that we used a lot while we were there, because of course it was very, very snowy, is something that was in our goodie bags. And it is this, which is a beautiful piece of felted wool that is called a situnderlag, which basically is something that you can sit on. So if you're out and about in the cold, in the snow, you put it under you and you sit on it. And I used this during one of the days when we went to a ski slope and sat on it for a good long time, and my bottom did not get wet and it did not get cold. On the snow side, it got a little bit icy, like you could tell where it was creating this protective layer. It's really cool. I mean, who would have thought? How simple a piece of material, and it's, you know, easy to just roll up and put in your bag. So this was really lovely to receive. Do you have anything like that? I mean, we do this at like football games if you want to sit on a padded seat, but I'd never thought about a pretty piece of knitting that's felted. Like, it'd be easy to make. You could even cut up old sweaters and felt them, cut them out to a square, and then stitch the edging. Another thing that I picked up, so we went to one farm that was called Fandremsgard, and this man, Jean Frederick, has been in the fabric industry. He's like a historian related to textiles, but he inherited his farm, his family farm, where they have sheep and cows, as well as producing butter. And it's considered like butter delicacy, and it's so good. I can't do dairy much at all, but I saved it. Like, I didn't do any until I went to this farm so I could try this butter, and it was so delicious. And the way it was, well, first we sat around this lovely table in a lighted dining room. So, you know, beautiful sunlight coming through the windows, and there was antiques and beautiful historical things everywhere. And the table was set so lovely. And they gave us either tea or coffee, whichever we chose, and they had some homemade breads and homemade sausages, and then this butter that was presented on a large raised platter that was probably about this tall, and from a mold that I think he said was made for his great-grandmother. So it was this beautiful design, and it was hard for anyone to cut into it. But it was so good, and I thought, molded butter, why don't we do that? Why don't we make our food prettier? So it just so happened that when I went to another little place called Roros, which I went to maybe 3 or 4 days later, when I was in their museum, I found a butter mold. So it's just a little one, but this one, it has a little pin, and you pull that out, and then you can open it up. And here's the design. So what you do is you fill the butter on the top, and then you put the top in here, close it up, and then you shove butter in the rest of it, and then you put it in the fridge and let it harden, and you're able to pop it out and make your own butter mold. How cool is that? The other thing that I found that I was really interested in when I was at Jean Frederick's, because he has a little shop there with some of the things that he makes, as well as local things for sale, yarns, stuff like that, is I found dishcloths. Now, I know you're going to be like, okay, you went all the way over to Norway to get a dishcloth made in Sweden, but I'm trying really hard to get plastic out of our house. And one of the things that's just really easy to use is a plastic scrubby that's on the back of your dish sponge. But these, because they're made of 100% linen, have a bit of a scrub to them. And because they're made of linen, they're easy to just toss in the wash. So we've been using these for a little while, and they're really nice. It's a way to get a little bit of a scrub without having to use that plastic bristle on the back of the sponge. The other thing that I found that I didn't bring in, it's actually in the sink, at the sink right now, is a little thing that I don't have one here. It looks like a broom, right? So if you think about where a broom is, a real broom is attached, right? The broom pieces are held together and then it comes out. This one has been cut so that it's pretty short. It's only about this tall. And it's used to scrub, like a metal scrubber, or, a really good dish scrub. So you just hold it and you can scrub all the stuff off, and over time those little bristle pieces will break. But how easy is that to make? I'd never even thought about that. So yeah, so I picked some of those up while I was there, and I got some for gifts too. Another thing that I got was when I was in Trondheim, because Mars and I spent a few extra days in Trondheim so we could look around before we came back home. And we decided to go to the Goodwill because, you know, there might be some good sweaters and stuff there. But I actually found this. It's a super cute, like, tea towel cloth. And at first I thought, oh, that's cute. And I thought, you know, it's probably machine stitched. But if you look at the back, you can tell it's all been hand done. The stitching is a little uneven. You can see, you know, you can see the handmade of it. So I thought, that's super cool. So all of it handmade. There's not a stain on it. And it was less than $5. So I had to get it. And I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'd offered it to Kaya because she likes embroidery, and I thought if she wanted to use it to stitch on, she could. But she hasn't decided yet. But super cute. Although everybody agrees it kind of looks like he's being stabbed in the back by a ladder. I also... I'm not going to take these out because it's going to be really crunchy, but I also was lucky to get some samples of Vilsau Blaset and Pelsau fleece. In Norway they have 9 rare and endangered breeds, and so these are 3 of those breeds that I'm going to get to experiment with spinning. So I will 2 of them are lamb wool, so it's super soft, and this one isn't, but is also super soft. So I'll spin those up sometime soon and show you how they turn out. I'm excited to play with those. And then, of course, I got yarn. The first yarn that I got was when at the layover on the way to Norway, Mars and I had a layover in Amsterdam that was 9 hours. It was pretty long. So, even though we got there really early, I think we landed like at 4:30 or 4:45 in the morning. Our friend Malia, who is Penelope of Stephen and Penelope, came out to pick us up and bring her to the store. So Stephen and Penelope is a really lovely yarn shop in Amsterdam. So she brought us, even before it opened, to go run around the shop and play. And I picked up for you guys what she said was one of their favorite colors, one of their best-selling colors in West Wool, which is their own brand of yarn, which I think has only been out for a year or 2. It's super soft. This is the colorway called Norway, which is perfect, and it's 90% Falkland Merino and 10%, well, I always say Texel, but I think it's Teschel. I'm not sure. But it's really lovely. Super soft, and so this is going to be something that goes into the Patreon giveaway prizes for you guys. So thank you, Malia. It's absolutely lovely. And then I also picked up a really pretty purple for myself to try. This is Holstgarn, which is it's just 100% wool, but this looks like it would be perfect for color work, and y'all know I like purple. Then when we were at the retreat, of course, whenever we went around to farms or had a chance to get out and about and meet people who had sheep, we picked up yarn when we could. I got 2 skeins of Gratrondersau, with a light and a dark gray, from a lovely woman named Gun Ellen, who also has a rare breed farm, and I think she raises 3 different breeds of sheep. Oh, and her farm is called Holmgard. I'll put that below, and I'll put links to any of these that have websites also. I also got a lovely skein of Vilsau, which is the same as one of the ones I'm going to be spinning up, from a lovely woman named Britt. Gave this to all of us, all of the attendees of the retreat. On the last night that we were in Trondheim, Mars and I got to go to a knitting night, which was super fun. It was in, from what I understand, a tiny little town, but this yarn shop carries all kinds of really beautiful yarn, has a great knit night, and a lot of, a really big community for such a small town. People come from all over, so we drove an hour to get there. But they have like sleepovers and stuff where you go, you knit, you sleep over, you have fun together. I love that idea. And from her, in our goodie bags, we had gotten a beautiful yarn called Borshog. It's the name of the hotel, and every time someone would say it, I think I need to remember that because it's not what it looks like. It looks like Bardshaug, but that's not how it's pronounced. But it's really beautiful. So she made this colorway. It's owned by a mother and daughter, and the daughter dyed this colorway for us. And then while we were there, while I was at the yarn shop, which is called Garn Boutique in Fortuna, I picked up these two. This one is Peruvian Highland wool called Fjordis, which was her great-grandmother's name. And this one is Fayer Jonas, which is her great-grandfather's brother, who was a chimney sweep. So she always has these great reasons behind why she dyes the colorways the way she does. So I wanted to make something for Kaya. She's always chilly, but knitting usually isn't her style. Like, as far as wearing it, she has a couple sweaters that she wears, but she rarely wears gloves or knitted socks or hats. It's just not her fashion sense. But she likes fluffy things, so I thought maybe if I mix some mohair, because this is 72% mohair and 28% silk, with the wool, and I think these would be really cute together, maybe she'd wear it. So I texted her while I was over there, and she was like, yeah, I might wear it. So I'm going to make her a hat out of this, and hopefully she'll wear it. If not, I like the colors, so I'll wear it. And I just saw this on the floor, so before I forget, I wanted to tell you. This is from one of the videos that I put out about a month ago now on how to do coil spinning and spin over wire. So if you haven't seen it already, I talked about it a few episodes back that I was thinking of doing a tutorial on that. So I did two tutorials. One on core spinning, like how you spin fiber over a core yarn or strand of fiber. And then coil spinning, how to make the little beehives or bumps on fiber as well as on wire. So here's these. So if you are interested, those are both up on my YouTube channel. And I think, my friends, that is it. I hope I didn't talk too fast. I didn't want us to be more than an hour, and I wanted to really try and get everything in there. So I will work on getting this up, and I will also work on putting together for you a video just about Norway, all the sights and sounds and the beautiful things, the amazing people. It was a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and I really loved it. And if you get a chance, if you are a world traveler and you want to experience Norway, I would highly recommend going to the retreat that Patricia and the Mid-Norway Culture and Knitting Festival are going to be putting on. And I hope you guys are doing well. It is the middle of March, so I will probably be seeing you guys sometime in April. Stay healthy, be good to each other, and